Welcome to REST, which stands for Resiliency and Empowerment Seminar today. I am your host, Susan Gans, and I am the founder of Gans Strategic Solutions, where we operate at the intersection of business and human behavior. For more information, see gansstrategicsolutions.com. This show is about hearing from leaders of small and mid-sized businesses as well as nonprofits. We hear about the journeys of these leaders, a bit about their organizations, and very importantly today, how they are being resilient. I am so excited about today's guests. We don't really know each other, but we know each other because we have so much in common. Her name is Vera Moore, and she comes to us via a mutual connection with Winnie Benjamin. So shout out to Winnie. A bit about Vera. She is a former actress turned entrepreneur, and we'll hear more about her story shortly. She is president and CEO of the highly competitive family-owned business Vera Moore Cosmetics. She established it in 1979 and was developed from the guidance of a licensed esthetician, her husband, Billy. And Vera Moore Cosmetics maintains the position that women should clear it up versus cover it up. And the brand is anchored in the belief that skincare is the focus coupled with the usage of cosmetics. Thus, the mantra is skincare is the true foundation. You might see that Vera might be a familiar face to you because she's appeared on several soap operas, and her major contract was landing the role of Linda Metcalf as one of the first Black actresses in a family on the soap opera Another World. And Vera is an active participant in the community and several organizations. She was a motivational speaker participating in the National Minority Business Council Conference, Small Business Development Centers, Black Enterprise Entrepreneurial Conference, and Women's Power Summit. She was also the first to speak at the first Urban Economic Council presented by the White House Business Council, the White House Council on Women and Girls, and the U.S. Small Business Administration. She has done so much, and we are so excited to dive into the conversation. So welcome to the show, Vera.
Well, I am absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you so much for asking me. And again, shout out to Winnie because, she's a firecracker. So
Yes,
I'm delighted and nice to meet you. We have so much in common ourselves. This is amazing.
Yes. So tell us about the early days of your career, because we were chatting before the show and you said, well, Susan, I never set out to be an entrepreneur. I started as an actress. So tell us about your journey.
Well, when I talk too much, just tell me to stop, okay? Because I know time is of the essence. I had no idea I was going to be an entrepreneur. My background was all theater. I started as a child singing in the church. I always loved to sing, I wanted to be in the theater, Susan. And I knew I had to work. I knew I had to work. I didn't go to college, but I knew I had to work. I came from a family of 7, 5 brothers and 1 sister, and I'm the baby. So, and I wanted to help my mother and dad. My father was a porter. He was an uneducated. My mother had a 3rd grade education. So, I had to help out with the family. So when the federal government would come around to the high schools and see, who was interested in a career with, civil service, et cetera, I said, I better take this test. So I learned how to do stenographer, Sten, I took Greg, and I passed the test. I passed the test to get the job. Yeah, So right out of high school, Flushing, 143, I grew up in Corona, Queens, I got a job. So I graduated in June, let's say, and then in July 5th, I was working at Bowling Green for Customs.
Wow.
As a secretary, yes. So I was ecstatic because I had a job. I could help my mom and dad. I was always dedicated. I always had those core values. I don't know. My brothers used to say, Vera, you're only 9. Why are you such a little old lady? I always felt I had to take care of everybody, So I got this pool. It's a pool where all the secretaries are there taking steps. But I always was very aggressive. I always was assertive. I said, I don't want to be in the pool with all these people. I want to be on the 3rd floor with the lawyers. And I was a good stenographer. I typed really well. I really honed my skills. So I took the test. In the federal government, you could take tests. You know, they had GS1s,
Yes.
GS5s, whatever that was. So I took the test and I said, I'm going to take the test. So I told my mom I'm going to take. She said, well, take the test. You know, look, you're great. Take the test. She always encouraged me. So I took the test to be in the solicitor's office for the Port of New York. That's upstairs. I got it.
Awesome.
Awesome. So it was the secretary and the attorney, right? So it was no longer the pool. And I remember him. I love this man. He was so wonderful to me. His name was Mr. Greenberg, Melvin Greenberg. And I said, you know, Mr. Greenberg, after we got to know each other, I said, Mr. Greenberg, you know, I want to be in the theater. I want to be an actress. Do you mind if I, this sounds so typical of a theater, right? Gotta have guts, chutzpah, right? Gotta have guts.
Yes.
So I said, do you mind if I go to my auditions on my lunch hour? So he said, yeah, you can go to your lunch hour. I guess maybe they didn't take me serious. I don't know. But I did. I'd go to my auditions on my lunch hour. Now remember this. This is really important. Bowling Green is down Wall Street by the ferry.
Yes.
I had to go all the way up to Midtown, 50th Street to audition. In the law division, you had to look a certain way. When you went for the audition, you got to look another way. So I carried my clothes in a bag. I'd carry my clothes in a bag, and I would change my clothes when I got to the theater or the room where you were auditioning. And then I would audition. And before I left the audition, I changed my clothes back again to go back downtown to Bowling Green. Now, this talking about longevity and resilience. I did this for 5 years.
Wow.
Back and forth for 5 years. And I'd come back, and I was late a lot of times because when you went to the theater, you know, you got to use cattle calls. You got to get the number. You got to wait until they call you. Oh, you understand what I'm talking about. So I would get back late, and I'd say, Mr. Greenberg, he says, don't worry. You know, I think it was a win-win for us because it helped me tremendously, and he was so kind, so generous. But if he said to me, look, I need you to work late because we got to get this out, or can you come in a little early? I was never the type to look at my watch and say, oh, it's 5 o'clock, I got to go. No, so it worked out well. So he'd say, well, did you get it? And I'd say, no, I didn't get it. Oh, I go back again. One day, I came back. You know what I'm going to say, right?
You got it.
Did you get it, Vera? Yes, I got it. Oh my God, thank God I finally got it. He said, you got it? I mean, I was ecstatic. Because it was my dream. And this is what I wanted to do. It's my passion, you know. So he said, so what are you going to do? This is a true story. I said, I'm going to quit. He said to me, Vera, you're going to quit a federal government job, annual leave, sick leave, benefits, whatever, for a summer stock job. Now, you know what summer stock is. It's just for 4 weeks. You know, trying to get the gig, trying to get in the union. I wanted to get in equity. I was tired of going to cattle calls, being number 200. Because I had to auditions. If you were non-equity, you went to that call. If you were equity, you went to that call. Well, you know that. I'm just explaining it to the audience, so to speak. So I said, yes, I'm leaving. So I left a federal government job for 4 weeks, Guy Lombardo, South Pacific. But what was so fantastic about it, most people that do summer stock sometimes have to go away. Because, you know, they got to go away to summer stock, you know, on the road. But I was just blessed. It was right there at Jones Beach. So I took it. I took that job, unemployed. And then while I was there, see, you never know what will happen.
Yes.
I auditioned for Purely Victorious, a Broadway show. I got it. Now I keep saying I got it, but it's never that easy. It's audition, go back and forth, you know, call back. It's never that easy. This is fast forwarding. I got it. And the director was Howard Roberts, fabulous musical director. So I was in there about almost 4 years. Melba Moore was the Tony Award winning, just in even to perform with her. She's just fabulous. So when he said, you know, the show is over, I have to go to California. He's telling the girls in the chorus, I have to go to California and I need some backup singers for Leslie Elkins. Who wants to go? You know, or he had heard us sing for 4 years. We didn't have to re-audition again. He knew that he needed a soprano. He needed an alto control, whatever. I'll do it. I'll go. Right? Following it. So I went to California. And I stood by, and not stood by for Leslie. I was a background singer for Leslie Elkins. It was, you know, her show, the show. Then I came back, and that was almost 2 years. Then I came back and I auditioned for Tremonisha, Kathleen Battle, the opera singer. She did Tremonisha, so I was in Tremonisha, and we went to Kennedy Center for almost a
Nice.
year, and I came back to Broadway, so I was in that for 2 years. And then in between, you know, you have the gigs, and you're trying to do the soap opera, not the little soap operas, little extras and things, you know, and commercials and trade shows. Then I got an opportunity to do Jackie Mason, a teaspoon every 4 hours on Broadway. That was a real experience. Then I got my really big break. Not that these weren't breaks; these were tremendous breaks. Even to be an extra, I have to let anybody in the theater. Even to be an extra is a big break, because people underestimate the value of being an extra. You're not just there to fill space. You're part of the scene. I always tell
Absolutely.
people, you're part of the scene, so you're a star. And I always felt like that. Even though I was an extra sitting in the corner in a restaurant, just pick up the cup, Vera, you know, pretend like you're drinking. But I went even deeper and further. My tea was hot. So I didn't just pick it up and drink it. You burn your tongue. Sensory exercise, theater, acting. So I always did that. And I got a lot of extra parts. And then I got my first under five lines. I think it was Edge of Night or something. I don't remember. Then I was on Edge of Night for quite a while too. Anyway, I got my first break, Another World. Major, Channel 4, NBC, they were looking for a Black family. They were creating a Black family for the soap opera. So my agent called me and said, Sarah, you need to go to that. So I went. Fast forward, it wasn't overnight. You know, you got to go back and forth. You got to read again. You got to read again with the people that's going to, you know, your character, who you're playing. And I got it. You know, that was very, very exciting. But your next question, why? That's the beginning of the career. Didn't you ask
Yeah.
me why I decided to go into? So then I realized there was a void in the market because, you know, I'd be very candid here. I'm going to be transparent with you, right?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah. There was nothing for quality people for black women, especially of a darker hue. You know, black women range from ivory, white, to ebony, to blue black. Well, there was nothing for them. And it wasn't really about the powder and the paint. What really got me was that low self-esteem that so many people had.
Mm.
Oh, I'm dark. You know, do you have anything for me? You know, and this is true. I tell this story all the time. People know this, but this is my story, and I have to tell you, this is the resilience and it's standing in my own truth, my own power. This was an important thing to me. There was such low self-esteem because they were dark. Well, nobody cared about them. And if nobody cares about you, sometimes you stop caring about yourself and you get an inferiority complex. You have low self-esteem. And so my nose is too big, my lips are too big, my butt's too big, whatever, I'm too dark. And you go into a department store, they didn't have colors for you because you weren't their market. You really weren't. So that's one of the main reasons I did it, to empower, to impact, to be that you're beautiful just the way you are. And now everybody's sticking a nose and sticking needles in lips, butts, and every place else. But I'm just saying at that particular time, you know, we weren't valued. And I saw that. So that was the genesis of why I really decided to go into cosmetics specifically designed for Black women, women of color, but we can accommodate all skin tones. But I had in business, you know, I had to focus on the void.
Yes.
And that's why I did that. God, that's a long answer, isn't it?
But it's a beautiful story. It's
Thank
your
you.
story. It was your journey, your assertiveness that got you to Manhattan, and your drive that drove you to take the test to get out of the pool. Like
Mhm.
that's a theme for you, is to get out of the pool. Think about it, because you
Yeah.
did the same thing in acting. I don't want to be in the catacall pool of people.
And you
I
don't
don't.
want to always be in the chorus. You want to be able to take a lead or an understudy or something. So
Right.
it's the same principle, yes.
Right. And the same thing with your cosmetics. If you look at the pool of cosmetics wasn't serving a certain niche of people, and you said, well, wait a second, this is an important niche of people and they need to be
Right.
served.
Yeah.
And you differentiated yourself yet again. So that's the thematic running through your life, whether you realized it or not.
Well, you know what? That's a good thing. Listen, because I never thought about, well, I knew I was tapping into a certain market. I know that. And, you know, the void in the market, segmenting, segmentation of the market. But I never thought of those words like that. You know, you don't want to be in the pool, Vera.
Right.
I'm in the pool with all the ladies and the men you want to be. So then you take the test. That's the trial, right?
Right.
You have to work
Every
harder. You
time.
have to do it. There you go. I like that. I'm going to use it. May I use that?
You sure can use
Well,
that.
thank you.
It's your story.
I know, but you're helping me to enhance it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And so what I'm also gathering from you is you're a person who's very resourceful and very resilient yourself. And as the baby of the family, you just rise, I'm a
Yeah.
baby too, so I guess.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Sisters, brothers? You have any sisters, brothers?
I have an older brother who's 8 years older than me.
Well,
Yeah. So, talk to us, here we are, we're sitting in a pandemic.
mm.
Talk to us how you're being resilient, your business is being resilient. Talk to us
Okay.
about that.
Well, we fast forward. We did a lot of things. We integrated Green Acres Mall. We were the first Black tenant in history of Green Acres Mall in 1979, which was a big thing. We can always go back to that. But we also were in Duane Reade. We had an opportunity to go into Duane Reade. We weren't in mass market. Duane Reade's a drugstore. We weren't in a mass market. But Duane Reade had an initiative to have a section within their store called the Look Boutique. It was an upscale destination of beauty they wanted it to be. They wanted it to be comparable to an Ulta or Sephora.
Gotcha.
So you'd go into the Duane Reade store and you'd say, oh, mass market, but then you look over there and you say, oh my God, this is gorgeous. What is this? That's where I was. That's where we positioned Vera Moore. So that was it was a great opportunity for us, and wasn't easy. Didn't happen overnight getting into a major store conglomerate. Believe me, it's very difficult. If you're not ready to do it, don't do it. That's the advice I give people, because you got to be ready. But we're in there for 11 years. So getting on the shelf is one thing. Staying on the shelf is another. So I'm very delighted about that. We did a terrific job. But then they did some closing some of their stores. They wanted to close the Look Boutiques. Big stores are closing. Conglomerates are closing. Small business, brick and mortars are closing. Big, so. But what was so great about that, because I always try to find the good, no matter what. I try to find the good in a circumstance. Boy, and listen, we're going through Herculean challenges. I understand that. When we got into Duane Reade, Walgreens acquired Duane Reade.
Yes.
So then we went national. They did the same cookie cutter Look Boutique concept. We went about 30 stores in Manhattan. And then when Walgreens acquired them, we went national. We were about, together maybe 60 stores, 60 Look Boutiques, which is great for us, But then when they closed, my stores, they just closed, all of them. So, because I was talking to someone just recently, they said, Vera, you're still smiling. And, well, what are you going to do? I had a pity party, Susan, for 2 minutes. I had a pity party for a minute. But listen, you have to pivot. But what was so fantastic, I'm truly blessed, because all those customers that bought from Duane Reade, Las Vegas, Puerto Rico, California, Chicago, Miami, wherever, they were our customers, even though they bought it from Duane Reade, but Duane Reade was my account. When the stores closed, they still called us and ordered.
That's great.
They liked the brand. That was fabulous, because we had made a dent, and the product delivered. So we're gradually getting those calls. Now, we don't know who they are. We don't have their mailing list, unfortunately, because, but they're getting, and anytime the phone rings and says, I'd like to order some Vera Moore from Puerto Rico. Yeah. I'd say, by the way, how did you find out about us? Because, well, you used to be here. You're not here anymore. So, but I love your stuff. So that's what's happening now. So I'm just so blessed. I'm so ecstatic. You see, something good came out of that.
Yes. And
so
opportunities to go online and sell that way.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you something. We always were online, but I never really paid attention to my online. Look. I didn't pay attention to my online because I was busy trying to keep my stores and stuff. We're 100% Black owned. I own this 100%. I don't have to call anybody up to make a decision. I love it. Empowerment. I love it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So we were concentrating on Walgreens to get into mass market. That's huge. So I really didn't pay attention to my online. But you have to treat your online just like a store, like brick and mortar. You have to cater to it. You have to do very strategic. You have to market it, your digital marketing. There's so many things that you have to do that I'm learning now as a result of, so it's going to work out. Yeah, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. But it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not difficult.
Right.
It's very
Well,
difficult. Not, I mean, it isn't easy. It's very difficult.
well,
What we're doing.
you're used to challenges.
Oh,
I'm going to remind you.
yeah.
Look
All
what
right. The
you did.
pool. Get out of
Of
the
the
pool,
pool,
boy.
all the different pools you got out of.
Yes. Get out of And I don't even know how to swim in
And
reality. So this is really very significant. I'm going to use that a lot. Boy, I'm building on that thought already.
see, use it
Even
in
when you
your
can't swim,
marketing.
even when you can't swim, you can float.
There you
Right?
go. And that brings us to a theme about empowerment, because what you're talking about is you empowered yourself and you empowered your customers by having contact information. They're reaching out to you. Well, I can't find Vera Moore, so I'm going to be resourceful. I'm going to call them and say,
Mm-hmm.
I want this
Mm-hmm.
product. I need
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what empowerment is to a point. I mean, there's all sorts of phases. I think empowerment is when you make people want to act upon it. You know, I can
Yes.
talk to you and you feel empowered while I'm talking. Oh, she empowered me. She inspired me. But did I really make an impact for you to go forward and do it for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the real depth and breadth of it. So
Yes.
that you can look and say, I can say, well, Susan, I met her and we had lunch and we talked and she really empowered me. You know what I'm doing now? You see what I'm saying? It really has
Yes.
to follow through with something, not
Yes.
just the conversation. Then it goes, yeah, I think that's I think that's what it is.
Absolutely. It's people acting on it and to do,
Yes,
not just to hear some inspired speech and for
yes.
5 minutes you feel good and then you walk out of that room or you're on to the next task
Yeah, and you
forgetting.
forgot all about it. It's
Yeah.
like going to a networking section. You get a session. You get all these cards. You write the name. You don't call people. People do that all the time. They go, oh, I got so many cards. I was at Susan's event. And, did you call anybody? No. I think empowerment is a transformation of the mind.
Yeah.
You transform people. You impact them to really do something with their lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Vera, it's been so much fun talking to you
Oh,
today. What would you like people to remember about our conversation?
is it over?
It's almost over.
It's over. Let's call it a day. Okay. Resilience. I mean, come on. You put your mind to it. You have to have the mindset that yes, you can. No matter what I did, when I was integrating the mall or whatever, being the first Black and the thing is, you can if you want to. Don't be deterred. You can do this. So I think back to what you said for resilience, tenacity, and have the audacity to do it. Don't be afraid.
I like it. Tenacity and audacity.
Oh, mm-hmm. Yeah.
They
See what you
rhyme.
bring out of me. See what you're doing. You're such a great interviewer.
So Vera, how can people find you? Because we absolutely want them to find you.
Yes, VeraMooreCosmetics.com, www.VeraMooreCosmetics.com, and you can go to my Instagram at VeraMooreCos. Or guess what? Give me a call, 516-367-6538.
All right. So that's Vera Moore Cosmetics, and Moore is spelled with 2 O's.
Yeah.
Moore
R-E.
Cosmetics. You can find her on .com. And you can find her at Vera Moore Cos. Is that right?
Vera Moore Cos, C-O-S.
COS on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could call direct at 516-367-6538. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Awesome. So Vera, it's again such a pleasure, such a delight to speak with you today and hear about how you've been assertive and tenacious and just really saw a vision for yourself that was much larger than where you started. And I just look forward to more wonderful things to come for you and your company. And to our audience, I hope that you take action, like Vera was saying, about not to give up, not to be afraid, to be tenacious, to be bold, to just do it. And we look forward to our next conversation.